Members of Generation X, folks born between 1965 and 1980, aren't feeling stellar about retirement. In a new study from Fidelity, only around half of Gen Xers say they feel confident that they'll be able to retire on their own terms, with a third expecting they'll need to work in retirement to keep their finances afloat. Joining me now, we've got Rita Assaf, Vice President of Retirement Offerings at Fidelity Investments. Good to have you back on Yahoo Finance with us, Rita. Just first and foremost, as we think about these numbers that we just rattled off about Gen Xers, why is that they're feeling this way right now, and what's it most prominently tied back to?
Yeah, I mean, Gen X specifically has been the sandwich generation. If you think about that, they're taking care of their children, aging parents, and that is really at the forefront of the confidence drop. So you mentioned over half are confident that they'll be able to retire on their own terms. And this remains a bit of a concern for a number of reasons. One, we're starting to see a record number of Americans expected to reach traditional retirement age. So think of age 65 over the next decade. But on top of that, how you save for retirement has changed. This is probably, the current retirees are probably the last generation to have access to pensions for savings for retirement. And so Gen X really will be the first we call 401k generation who'll be using that and other individual retirement accounts such as IRAs as their primary method to draw down from.
So as people are planning for retirement, and we're taking a look at some of the average balances in retirement accounts for 401ks and IRA balances for Gen X right now, how are we seeing Gen X plan for retirement in some of the breakdown of essential costs versus discretionary costs?
Right. So, I mean, this is where having a financial plan definitely helps, especially for that Gen X group that is really coming close to it. So over the last couple of years, they've been saving in various account types and overseeing their investment mix. But at this point, they really should be working more towards how will that retirement plan really be put into action. So think about essential expenses being covered by guaranteed income sources that keep up with inflation. So think Social Security or annuities. And this is what's really important, because if you think about what's happening in the market today, having these guaranteed income sources will help you, whether any sort of investment mix. So that's one. And then secondly, you want to continue to have discretionary expenses covered by savings or investment income. And that way, if there is a market downturn, you can cut back on spending without hurting that day-to-day living expenses that you have.
Rita, you provided us with a hack here, and you mentioned HSA specifically, these health spending accounts. Why is that?
Well, the biggest costs in retirement are healthcare costs. So we in our research have found that an average individual who's retired is going to need about $165,000 for healthcare costs in retirement. And one of the best ways to combat that is not just the planning, but also HSAs. HSAs are one of the most tax-efficient vehicles that are out there. The money goes in tax-free, the earnings grow tax-free, and then they're withdrawn tax-free if used on unqualified medical expenses. So they are a very strong tool. However, you do have to be enrolled in an HSA eligible plan to take advantage of that. So it is a feature or factor to be considered as part of your larger healthcare planning in retirement.
All right, the health savings account. Who knew? Rita, you knew. Thanks so much for breaking this down for us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.